Ernie Ball Super Slinkies is what I'm going to be looking at today. These are your regular, light gauge strings, 9 through 42. I think this is probably one of the first sets Ernie Ball made. I know probably 10 through 46 and these were probably the first sets made. I'll run through the gauges real quick. 9, 11, and 16 for your plain, and 24, 32, and 42 for your wound strings. So, Ernie Ball Super Slinkies to me was most eye-catching out of all the packages because they're bright pink. On the camera, don't look as, eye-catching. They're really, really cool looking when you're in the store. But these strings, I've played, almost every brand going. I haven't played a lot of, the small brands. A lot of people always, want to know about that, but I've played most of your main brands. And for me, the Ernie Ball 9 through 42s do play different than other brands. I think brand to brand have similarities and differences, and I noticed one thing about all Ernie Ball strings is they're not, you can bend them and everything, and they have a slinkiness to them. They just don't feel as, elastic, kind of like, Diodaros have a really elasticity to them that, they bend really just smooth or something. I feel like these bend different, if that makes sense. And with the 9 through 42s, for some reason I can tell it a lot more. I used to use DR 9 through 42s, same gauges and everything, and I don't know, just these strings have a certain feel to them themselves. They bend really well, but it doesn't feel like you're bending them as far, even though you are, if that makes sense. They still feel, even the 9 through 42s, they feel meaty, if that makes any kind of sense to anybody out there. But they don't have no more tension than any other brands. They still feel light. It's hard to describe. It's just a really, really unique feeling that, to me, Ernie Ball is about the only brand I can get that from, especially with such a light gauge set. I have not a single issue with this set of strings. The only thing for me is I don't play them anymore because a 9 through 42 set, I about tear off my guitar when I play. I have a really heavy right hand. I'm into thrash metal and stuff, so for me, they're not something that I would play. But if you're a beginner guitarist or intermediate or professional, they're going to do you very, very good. And if you're somebody who's just looking, for new strings for their guitar, let's say, this is your first guitar and you're just looking to get something, would these be for you? I would say definitely, unless you have a short scale guitar. And if you don't know what that means, guitars, the length that the strings, go across is different. And if you have something like a Les Paul or something, let's say like a Gibson, these might not be what you want to start with because they'll pretty much feel like they're falling off the guitar. But that's something that you would have to ask somebody who knows about guitars, what scale length do I have? And if they tell you, Fender scale length to 25.5 or something, these are a good starting point because they're not going to be too heavy for you. These are going to be pretty much what most people start out with. This set are 10 through 46. That's what most guitars ship from the factories with. That's what most stores are going to sell you. Most guitar teachers are going to tell you to begin with. I can go on and on about, how important 9 through 42s and 10 through 46s are. They were pretty much, back when Ernie Ball actually started making, custom-made sets and stuff and selling them, I think 9 through 42s and 10 through 46s were, the first sets that really took off. So, the same goes for, for 9 through 42s here in 2015. They're just great strings. I keep them on my guitars, or did keep them on my guitars, I should say. I don't use this gauge anymore, but when I did keep them on my guitars, I found that I could get, a lot of times 2 and 3 months of use out of these really heavy playing. If you play lighter or not as often, then these things should last a long time. Now, playing outside and stuff, most strings don't hold up to that. I don't know about these. I haven't used these a lot, playing live shows or nothing, so I don't know on that one with this set of strings. Once I got to that point, I was using heavier strings. But these last. That's one thing I'll say about them, is they last. And there's no problems with them. Some sets of strings you get, there's 1 or 2 strings that just don't feel right, or you wish was a little bit heavier or a little bit lighter, or some of the heavy sets I use, I wish certain strings were wound or this and that. With this set, it's just, you know what you're getting, and this is one of Ernie Ball's mainstays in strings. So, simple set of strings, good results pretty much all the time.